7 Secrets of Shiva. Shiva is the destroyer among the Hindu trinity of gods. He is an ascetic who wears animal skin, his body smeared with ashes. Contrary to his wild nature, he is also depicted as having a family, with a wife and 2 children. Within infinite truths lies the eternal truth who sees it all. Varuna has but 1,000 eyes, Indra, 100, and I, only 2. Lingeshwara's secret, imagination makes us human. Shiva means the pure one, purged of all forms. Shiva means God who cannot be contained by space or time, God who needs no form. The linga represents the form of the formless. It is the container of all forms. In nature, everything has a form and is limited by time and space. Shiva is Hara, who is indifferent to form. He breaks free from all forms, hence he is the destroyer who is worshipped as the linga. Shiva has no beginning and no end. But devotees need form to understand and seek the formless. Shiva is visualized sitting under the pole star, on a snow-capped mountain in the shade of a banyan tree. The pole star serves as the symbol of a world where nothing changes, nothing ages or dies. The mountain represents stability and stillness. The banyan tree has trunks as thick as its roots. It's difficult to find its start and end. Tapa is the spiritual fire which cleanses the mind. Tapasya is the process of lighting this fire. Shiva is the greatest tapasvin. His eyes are always shut, allowing him to look inwards. Inward gaze seeks the seed from where the tree comes, the outward gaze seeks the fruit of the tree. That's why Shiva strings the seeds of Rudraksha tree around his neck and Vishnu adorns the leaves and flowers. Shiva Lingam represents the burning of Tapa, the endless pillar of fire and the form of the formless. Bhairava's secret. From fear comes all corruption. Bhaya means fear. Living creatures fear death. Kal means time. Time devours all living beings. Shiva is called Kal Bhairava because he removes the fear of time. Fear of death leads to 2 kinds of fear. The fear of scarcity, which makes predators, and the fear of predation, which makes the prey. Shiva smears himself with ash to help us outgrow the fear of death. When a man dies, his body can be destroyed by fire. But ash outlives the fire and thus is indestructible. Ash symbolizes the indestructible soul which occupies the body during life and outlives the body after death. Humans have the ability to imagine and thus experience 2 realities: the objective reality of nature, Prakriti, and the subjective reality of his imagination, Brahmanda, culture. Every human being is thus Brahma, creator of his own Brahmanda. Brahma splits the Brahmanda into 5 parts: me, mine and not mine. Me is made up of the mind and body. Mine is made up of family, property, and knowledge. Not mine is made up of all the other things. These are the attachments. Bhairava invites us to break free from the attachments, cleanse the mind of all corruptions and discover the world free from fear. Shankara's secret. Without empathy there is no evolution. According to the Puranas, Brahma gives birth to his mind-born sons. One of them is called Daksha, meaning the skilled one. He establishes a culture to cope up with nature's transformation. He does so through the ritual of yagna, which is about controlling wild nature and domesticating it. Yagna involves domestication of fire to a sacrificial altar, water to a pot, plants and animals as auspicious offerings, and humans through rules. In exchange, Yagna grants abundance and security. Daksha marries his 28 daughters, the Nakshatras, to Chandra, the moon god who neglects all except one. This upsets Daksha and he curses Chandra with a wasting disease. A distraught Chandra turns to Shiva, Mrityunjaya, conqueror of death. Shiva places Chandra on his forehead and thus is known as Chandrasekhara. Daksha's youngest daughter, Sati, sees Shiva wandering in the mountains and falls in love with him. She wants to marry Shiva but her father refuses. So Sati leaves her father's house to become Shiva's wife. Daksha conducts a yagna to which all are invited except Shiva and Sati. Shiva doesn't care but this upsets Sati. She reaches her father's place and is humiliated. So Sati leaps into the sacrificial fire and sets herself ablaze. This dents Shiva's indifference and an outrageous Shiva takes the form of Virabhadra, a terrifying warrior. Shiva, in his rage, beheads Daksha. He lifts the corpse of Sati and weeps low ease Shiva's pain. Vishnu hurls his Sudarshan chakra and cuts Sati's body in 108 pieces which falls on earth and transforms into Shakti Pithas. The goddess takes a rebirth as Parvati, daughter of Himavan. Parvati decides to marry Shiva. She wants Shiva to open his two eyes, so she turns to Tapa. Parvati's actions stir Shiva and he agrees to fulfill her wishes. She asks that he come to her house and ask her father for her hand in marriage. Unlike her last birth, she is not willing to run away. Shiva comes on his bull with his Ganas to marry Parvati. Shiva is domesticated by Shakti, and thus turns into Shankara, the householder. After Shiva's marriage, Brinji, a follower of Shiva, wanted to go around Shiva, but is unwilling to go around Shakti. He tries to slip between Shiva and Shakti. So, Shakti sits on Shiva's thigh. Brinji then takes the form of a bee to fly through the gap between their necks to complete his round of Shiva. Shiva then merges his body with Shakti to become Ardhanareshwara, god who is half woman. He makes it impossible for Brinji to make his way between the two. In Shiva temple, one can walk around the Shiva linga but not completely. Shiva cannot be worshipped without acknowledging Shakti. Only through her can he be realized. Hellenath's secret. Culture is a human delusion. Shiva merely engages with Prakriti while Vishnu takes mortal forms and is a part of culture. That's why Vishnu stories are based in time and SPDCE, where Sniva stories are located outside time and space. Shiva is ignorant of the cultural rules. He is simple, pure and innocent. That's why he is called Hellenath, the master who has no guile. This is evident during the marriage of Shiva and Parvati. Unlike normal grooms, Shiva comes on a bull, wrapped in animal hide and smeared with ash. He is accompanied by demons, ghosts, ganas, witches and goblins. On Parvati's request, he transforms into Samasundara, the one who is as beautiful as the moon. Shiva's bull, Nandi, represents wild and undomesticated power. But Shakti wants Shiva to be more domestic. She asks him to build a house, but he sees it as a burden. Out of respect for Shakti, he asks Ravana, the king of Rakshasa, to build her a house. Rakshasa are demons who possess human intelligence but follow the law of the jungle. Ravana's grandfather, Pulatsya, was a mind-born son of Brahma. Ravana is a clever devotee of Shiva. He uses his knowledge of Vastu Shastra to build the most beautiful palace. But Ravana becomes attached to it, so he asks Shiva for the palace itself. Shiva blesses everyone who approaches him. He acknowledges the emotions accompanied with the offerings. Once, Draupadi asked Shiva for an honest, strong, skilled, handsome and intelligent husband. Instead of giving her one husband with all 5 qualities, Shiva gave her 5 husbands with 1 quality each. Once, the Devas and the Asuras were churning Amrita, the nectar of immortality, from the ocean of milk. The ocean spat out a huge amount of poison, Halho. Everyone prayed to Shiva to receive it. As the Lord of Yoga, only he had the power to digest it. Shiva did it. But Shakti, a protective wife, squeezed Shiva's neck to not let the poison go beyond his neck. The poison turned Shiva's neck blue and hence he is known as Nilakantha. Once a legendary king, Bajarath, invoked Brahma and asked to bring down the river Ganga which flows in the sky as the Milky Way to earth to liberate his dead ancestors. But the force of the falling Ganga could destroy earth. So Bajarath requests Shiva to break the fall of Ganga. Shiva agrees and entangles Ganga in his dreadlocks. Shiva thus becomes Gangadhara, bearer of Ganga. I river springs out of Shiva's top knot as a gentle stream ready to cleanse the living and enable the dead to be reborn. Ganesha's secret. Food alone does not satisfy hunger. A person is composed of his physical body, Sthula Sharira, and mental body, Sukshma Sharira, and a third body, Karana Sharira, of subconscious memories, full of fears. On death, Yama claims the physical and mental body, but the third body outlives death. The Karana Sharira travels across the river Vaitarni and reaches the land of the dead where it resides as Pitralori Chiva. The Pitra has to purge all fears, for which they need to be reborn. Humans are obligated to produce children to repay the debt of their ancestors who gave them life. This is Picarin. But Shiva owes no debt as he has no ancestors. So when Parvati expresses her desire to be a mother, Shiva walks away to meditate in the Deodar forest. Parvati decides to create a child on her own. She anoints her body with turmeric paste, then scrapes it off. She collects the rubbings and molds them into a doll and breathes life into it. She calls him Vinayaka, the one born without a man, and asks him to guard the gate of Kailasa while she bathes. While returning to Kailasa, Shiva is blocked by a stranger who refuses to step aside. Shiva gets angry and beheads the boy. When Parvati sees this, she screams and transforms from gentle, Gauri into fearsome Kali. Realizing his mistake, Shiva orders his Gana to fetch him the head of the first creature they encounter in the north. Ganas find an elephant and bring its head to Shiva, who then resurrects the boy. He names him Ganesha, the first amongst the Ganas. Ganesha has a prominent potbelly indicating great affluence and abundance. He is associated with fertility symbols such as rats, serpents and grass. He serves as a scribe of the sage Vyasa who narrated him the epic of Mahabharata. Once Ganesha is invited by Kubera, one of Shiva's Gana. Kubera has hoarded immense wealth. Ganesha went to Kubera's house and ate all that was offered but was still hungry. He ate until Kubera's pockets ran dry. Kubera holds a money bag in his hand while Ganesha holds a money bag shaped like sweetmeat. Ganesha's two wives, Riddhi and Siddhi, balance wealth with wisdom. His two sons, Shubh and Labh, which means auspiciousness and profit. His daughter is called Santoshi, goddess of satisfaction. Hence, Ganesha enables us to outgrow our fear of scarcity. Ganesha removes all obstacles to wealth, peace, growth, and happiness. Murugan's secret. Face fear to outgrow it. Once there was an Asura, Taraka, who defeated the Devas and caused havoc. He had a boon: he could only be killed by a little baby who led an army. The Devas want a hyper-masculine child who could fight a battle with the Asura. They want a child who is like Shiva, except actively engaged with the world. He will be Kumara, the wise and capable boy god. On the request of Shakti and the Devas, Shiva releases his power in the form of 6 fiery sparks. From the sparks, 6 children are formed, who were nursed by the stars of the Kritika constellation. Later, Shakti holds the 6 children in her arms and merges them into a single child. In us he is named Kartikeya, the son of the Kritikas. On the 7th day of his birth, Kartikeya fought Taraka and killed him. He thus defeats the enemy of the Devas and is declared the commander of all the celestial armies. Once Narada, a sage, wanted to know which of Shiva's 2 sons could go fastest around the world 3 times. Kartikeya leapt on his peacock and flew around the world 3 times. Ganesha went around his parents 3 times. Ganesha argued that his emotional world, that is, his parents, mattered more than the external world. Thus, Ganesha was declared the winner. This made Kartikeya furious and he left his father's house and moved to the Vindhyas in the south. Kartikeya's movement to the south is metaphorical. He moves from north, the realm of stillness and wisdom, to the realm of movement and fear. Unlike Shiva, he is actively engaged with the world and moves to help humanity outgrow fear. Kartikeya is popularly known as Murugan in Tamil Nadu and is much admired as a child, eye-over and guardian. Nataraja's secret. Destruction is deconstruction. Brahma is the creator and Shiva is the destroyer. Then why do we worship Shiva and not Brahma? Brahma creates Brahmanda, which comprises desire, fear, attachment. Shiva destroys desire, fear of death. Shiva destroys aim, the ego, so that the soul can be realized. Hence Shiva deconstructs humanity. To facilitate this deconstruction, Shiva becomes the primal teacher, Adinath, and teaches the world either in the form of Dakshinamurti or in the form of Nataraja. Dakshinamurti means the one who sits facing south. Shiva, in this form, is facing the direction of death. He helps his students face this change with wisdom. In the south, he takes the form of Nataraja, the dancer. Shiva's dance is a symbol of change. Dance can only be created by movement. He also gets destroyed in the next movement. Dance occupies the 3 dimensions of space. It also traverses the 3 dimensions of time. Dance can be seen, heard and read. It demands intellectual analysis. In Nataraja form, Shiva performs Tandava, a forceful dance demanding attention. Through Tandava, Shiva is enlightening the world. His upraised right palm assures freedom from fear. Shiva's left hand points to the rotating left foot, which represents nature, the source of fear. Shiva is thus dancing only on his right foot, thus he is called Ekapada. His right foot represents spiritual reality while his moving foot is material reality. The right side is still and silent while the left side is constantly changing. Nataraj's two upper arms hold a rattle drum and spiritual fire. The rattle drum represents distractions while the fuel-less spiritual fire is generated by introspection on life. Shiva is balanced, calm and composed.